Hey, I'm Rice. Let's make some clay. If you're a long-haired person like myself, you want to get that hair up and out of the way. Keeps it from getting clay in it. Next, you want to get yourself an apron, protect your clothes from getting covered in clay, and bringing that clay dust home with you. Then you want to get yourself an N95, pop that baby on nice and tight on your face, smush down the metal part, nice and secure. Wear closed-toed shoes. Get yourself a bucket. This is a 3.5 gallon. You're going to tear that bucket out by setting it to 0. You see, this is too high. We want it to be floating in between there, so we're going to have to adjust the weight there at the bottom. That's perfect. See, it's not touching the top or the bottom. Perfectly teared out. Here's the stoneware mixer. Looking pretty good. Could be better, but not a bad job. Whoever cleaned this looks pretty good. You want to start first thing by getting yourself a wet sponge and wetting down all the sides and bottom of it. Here is a perfectly prepared mixer with the sides and the bottom of it wet. Next, we're going to turn on the ventilation system. We're going to take this knob and set it to hand on the right side. Come over to the left side. Turn that one to hand as well. You'll know when it's on because it's very loud. We're going to start with our clay slurry, which is clay that's been broken down into water. It's pretty gross and slimy. You want to take that and fill the mixer with it until it's about 4 inches thick. Here I am using my hands, but you could use a cup if you wanted to. Next, we start the mixer by closing the lid and coming over to the side and hitting the green button. Our first ingredient is going to be hawthorn bond, and we need 40 pounds of that. Here's where it is on the shelf and what the bags look like. We need 40 pounds of hawthorn, but we're not going to set it to 40. We're going to set it to 10. We know that the bags are 50 pounds, so it's easier just to take 10 pounds out of the bag than it would be to measure 40 pounds out of the bag. Only do this if there is an open bag where you can put your leftover hawthorn into another bag. So here I am measuring it out, careful not to create a lot of dust, being very gentle with my scooping. You see it there, perfectly balanced, exactly where we want it. Now we're going to pour that 40 pounds of hawthorn into the mixer pretty slowly, again, trying not to kick up a lot of dust. Our next ingredient is going to be gold art. We need 30 pounds of that. Here's where it is on the shelf and what it looks like. Here's set our thing to 30 and measure out 30 pounds. Here I am adding. After gold out, we're going to add our custard feldspar. We need 15 pounds of that. Here's what the bags look like and where they are on the shelf. We're going to set our scale to 15 pounds and measure out our 15 pounds of custard. Here I am adding it to the mixer. Again, mixing it really slowly. Don't dump it all at once where you get a big dust cloud. Here's the custard in the mixer. We're going to go for our next ingredient, OM4. We need 15 pounds of that. Here's what the bags look like and where they're located on the shelf. And measure out our 15 pounds, put it in the bucket, add it to the mixer slowly. You get the idea. Our next ingredient, we're going to go for our grog. So we have 5 pounds of fine, 3 pounds of medium grog. The grog is mostly an unlabeled bag, so it's easiest just to pull it out and look at what it is. Here we have fine grog, medium grog, and coarse grog. Here we have our fine and medium grog. We're going to set the scale to 5, add 5 pounds of our fine grog. And then we're going to set the scale, adding 3 more pounds for the medium, so set it to 8. And then measure out our medium grog. Once we're done with that, we're going to throw it into the mixer gently. Again, you want to avoid creating a lot of dust, and you don't want to pour it all in the same space in the mixer. Clay is looking a little dry. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Don't add a bucket full of water. You want to get yourself a saturated sponge and slowly add water a little bit at a time. If you add too much, it's going to slide around and not absorb it well. Good time to take care of the trash. Take all your bags, put them in the trash can in the clay mixing room. Perfect. While our clay is mixing, we're going to compress those bags into the trash can. You can only put them in the trash can in the clay mixing room or the dumpster is in the hallway. None of the plastic lined trash cans. And it's a good time while your clay is mixing to start cleaning. You want to wipe down the surface next to the scale, like so. Always good to go over things twice, avoid it being super streaky. Here it is dirty, clean, awesome. Our clays look like it's ready to go. We're going to do the coil test, which is where you take out your clay and roll it into a nice coil. There I am doing that. And if you can wrap it around your finger without it breaking like that, your clay's good to go. So we need to mix some more. Here I am after more mixing. Looks good. Now you're going to let it mix for 10 minutes after it's ready. Now that our clay has passed the coil test and been mixing for 10 minutes, it's good to go. So we're going to start grabbing it and putting it in the bucket for our class. Boom. Here's some more action shots of me doing that. Next, you're going to want to scrape the clay that's stuck to the kind of corner edge of the mixer and the sides. Place that in the bucket. Do not stick your fingers behind these pipes. They will cut you. They are very, very sharp, so make sure to use a scraper and scrape behind there. There it is, the mixer all scraped. Now we move on to the brush. You get yourself a wet brush, and starting from the top to the bottom, you're going to scrub all sides and the bottom and the metal bars of the mixer. After brushing, we're going to move on to wiping down with our sponge. You want to wring out all the water and wash starting from the top to the bottom, getting all that slip that you created with the brush out of the mixer. This is very, very important. You're going to want to do this twice, and you want to change the water and rinse off your sponge. Again, wiping down the entire mixer with your new fresh sponge. Get it nice and clean. You want to see it shine. Look at that, beautiful. Looking good. And we're going to wash the top and the buttons and that vent thing. And we're going to put a lid on that clay. Very important. We're going to turn the ventilation system off on the right side and on the left side. Now we're going to clean the floor. We got our bucket of water. We got the baby squeegee. Very important for this part. You're going to take your water and throw it under the mixer. Like so. Not a lot of water, but a good amount. And you start by scraping all that clay that fell under and around the mixer. You want to make sure to get in all the quarters and the sort of tiny walkway behind the mixer really good. A lot of dust flies back there, and you want to be able to squeege all that clay out. I'm not very good at one-handed squeegeeing. Next, after we pull out all that water from under the mixer, we're going to squeege the clay water into the drain in the floor, like so. Next, we're going to pour a bucket of water around where we were measuring all our ingredients. Get that all nice and clean. Beautiful, and that's what it should look like.